Hey, it's Jack. No K, Jack in the attic. I think some birds are fighting outside my window. I'm back again. It's me. I'm here. I have settled a little too hard into my more relaxed posting schedule. I'd like to kind of bump up the frequency a little bit, but here we are. And would you believe that I still have not finished the sweater that I said I was going to talk about in my next video? The thing is, sleeves, that's it. That's the whole thing. It's just sleeves. So first of all, huge thank you to everyone who left me such just like nice and encouraging comments in my last video. I can walk again. If you didn't see that one, I fell really hard on not just pavement, but rock salt and tore up my knees quite badly. And I can walk again. I can do most of my daily things. I do still have a pretty big bruise and a pretty big like knot under the skin, but the cuts are completely healed. Anyway, today I do want to talk about something I'm feeling a little nostalgic about. I used to pattern test kind of relentlessly. I was always pattern testing. All I ever wanted to do was pattern test. This was mostly crochet, but I've pattern tested a couple of knit patterns as well. So I kind of just want to talk about patterns I've tested. I am essentially going to be scrolling through my own Instagram archive. I've archived a lot of posts. I get kind of freaked out when people used to like scroll to my like very first post from 2016 or whatever and like every post along the way. So I just took that ability away. It's a lot of notifications. Anyway. So while my knees are doing a lot better and I'm a lot more mobile and in a lot less pain, what I'm not going to do is run around my home gathering all of these objects. So we are going to rely on photos. Okay, there we go. I want to start way, way back at the very beginning. My first ever pattern test was for the Entangled Fae, who I've pattern tested for a few times. And it was the Foxglove bucket hat. I was so excited. I think I finished the first one the first day, and then I ended up making two. Where is this necklace? I'm wearing a necklace in one of the pictures that I have no idea where it is now. This is such a cute little hat, and the Entangled Fae does a lot of hats. It's such a quick thing to test, but all of theirs are really unique and fun, so I made two. There's also a non-zero chance that I'm going to miss one or two while I'm scrolling through, so I'm just going to say this is not intentionally a complete or incomplete list. It's a secret third thing. The next one I found is also by the Entangled Fae. This was the Fairy Tale Bonnet. This one was also really fun to test. I still have both of these, I know for sure, because I know where they are. I think the Foxglove bucket hat I still have too, but I'm not positive where it is. I made two versions of this as well. This was really good because I remember it was snowing when I finished the second one, at least the black one with the kind of rainbow brim. You're not going to believe this. It's another hat by the Entangled Fae. This was the Willow Bud beanie or bonnet. There were two versions. I did the fisherman beanie style for me in black, and then one in gray. I know I made another one in the bonnet style. I did. I made one in the bonnet style in pinks and with the vine tassels. So I made the black one, the gray one, and then the pink one, and I think I made another black one to give to a friend. So 4 total. This is a really fun, really quick. Is that a theme? That these are all fun and quick? They are. Really fun, really quick pattern. Up next, something that isn't a hat. This was my first pattern test for Nessa's knots. It's the Void Pullover. I remember being really into the Void cardigan that they released previously. So I was stoked to test the Void Pullover. I forgot how to talk. I still have this one as well. I remember being on a road trip and working on this and making the body too short and having to start over. But it ended up not being a big deal. This is cute. Why don't I wear this more? Okay, fun. Even after going back and redoing it and adding length, wanted it to be just a little bit longer, so when I seamed it up, I used like a zigzag chain? I can't explain exactly how I did this, but it was completely improvised. My only regret is I wish I'd used a nicer yarn. This is some like Karen cake from Joann, I'm positive. And I know I had it in my stash and had tried to make multiple different things with it and none of them worked out, and then it ended up being perfect for this pattern. So I'm glad it worked out, but I know if I made this in like a cotton yarn today, I would wear it a lot more. So maybe I will. I still have the pattern. My next pattern test, another designer. It's the Sabrina collar by SproutAndFae. This one is so cute. It's granny squares. It's a lace border. It's really simple, really quick to put together. Theme. Really cute. I have fond memories of this one too. I thought I made a second one in just black, but I don't have any pictures of it up. Maybe I imagined that. Another pattern test for the Entangled Fae. This was the Floral Forager hat. I can actually see this one. It's hanging up on my wall. I'm not gonna go get it. This was the first pattern test I did that involved the wire brim for the hat, which is something the Entangled Fae does like kind of frequently, and it works really well. I messed up one thing on this pattern, which is the vine is supposed to split in two and attach to the hat. It's not just supposed to be one little piece. I got ahead of myself and I don't know what happened. But I did make a second one in solid black, and I prefer that one. It doesn't have the vine at all, so nothing for me to mess up. I realized too late that I never actually wiped off my lip stain. I was just going with a really bold lip liner look. Anyway, I think a lot of people who experiment with black box dye young and then stick with it for a long time, they will have a red hair phase and then go back to black. It happens to everyone. I don't know why. So if it happened to you, you're not alone. It happened to me too. These pictures are evidence. My next pattern test was the Austin Stays by Yarn and Page. I loved this one. I had so much fun taking pictures for this. I remember I got some like pretty good ones. The one thing I regret about this is I missed a minor step and everything worked out, but it would have looked a little better if I hadn't missed that step. How do I miss a step in a pattern test? I feel like I think of myself as a careful person, but then when you line them all up back to back and then there are errors, it feels like a lot more errors. In the seaming of the pieces, you can see that my gray seaming is a little wobbly. It is because I missed a row of slip stitches, and they would have been so like crisp and perfect if I had not missed that. And I found out after I took the pictures. That sucks. I think I remembered it being worse than it actually is. It doesn't look that bad. I still feel bad for messing up. Okay, here we're fully into the red hair era. The red hair? No. This was the Bat Shawl by Undead Andie. I loved this, and this is the pattern that got me really into charts. I found the chart of this much easier to go off of. The written instructions were good too, but the chart just made a lot more sense to me, so I went completely chart for this whole pattern. I loved this. The only thing I changed was I intentionally made the seaming thicker? How do I phrase that? I did a wider type of join with the gray yarn to attach the black pieces together because I wanted it to look like the bones I think it looks really cool. I'm really happy with it. No notes. This is about where I started getting really into knitting, but I was definitely still only comfortable testing crochet at this point. Here's one. The baby doll dress by Autumn Olive Crochet. I think this turned out really well, but honestly, I had trouble. It's rectangles. I struggled. I did this cool thing where I did my gauge swatch and I was like, okay, I want to use DK yarn instead of worsted, so I will adjust in this way backwards. I had it all backwards in my head, so I'm looking at my gauge and looking at the row count. I'm like, something's wrong here. It was me. I was wrong there. Everything worked out. I think the finished piece is really cute and really comfy. Very happy with it overall. But I hate making a public math error. Not public, but in the group chat. Everyone says this, but it's so true. Fiber arts will teach you that you don't know how to count. Raise your hand if you have been personally victimized by gauge math. Next up was my first ever knit pattern test. This was the Luna Moth shawl by Knitting Nakabi. I had long admired her patterns. I still want to make the Chained Oblivion cardigan. I still want to make the Silk Song shawl. I own both patterns and haven't knit them yet, but I love shawl. This was super fun. It is huge and it's so cozy. I love this shawl. The pattern is really well written. The only thing I will note, if I remember right, her knitting tension is like pretty tight. So you absolutely have to gauge swatch. Even I think I'm a kind of tight knitter. I had to go up like 2 or 3 needle sizes. So if you actually follow the instructions, you're fine, but I don't want to do that. So maybe other people also need the reminder. Do your gauge swatch. Switching back to crochet for a moment. I always have to switch my brain back into medieval mode to say this correctly. It's the Coif, the Chainmail Coif. Pictures. It was so much fun. I liked dressing up to take these pictures, of course. I had a great time. This was another one that I finished in one night. And in this caption it says, "Why do I own so much armor? Don't worry about it." Still true. Okay, now out of my archive and onto my actual feed. Here's one that is going to be slightly out of order, but the Lenore boot cuffs by Yarn.Witch.Crafts. They're like little faux top of sock lacy cuffs that stick out of the top of your boot and look like you're wearing cute socks. Does that make sense? They were really fast, really easy. I had fun, enjoyed it. These are cute. And I think they're not something that everyone thinks of to make. Like when you think of crochet accessories, I don't think fake top of sock is like the first thing people think of. Yeah, I love these. Another crochet piece, it was my second pattern test for Nessa's Knots, the 6 feet under scarf. I was fully on YouTube and posting when I finished this one, so you may have seen this one before. This one was so much fun. The only change I made to this pattern was doing the inverted color scheme on each block, like white on black and then black on white, blah blah blah. I am so happy with how this piece turned out. I think it's so cute. I think it's written really well. I think if you haven't done crochet color work, this would be a good first piece because you're sort of repeating the same thing over and over. This is another piece that I actually ended up liking the tassels on. Usually not a tassel person. This will come up again. And by again, I mean right now, because the last pattern test I can find, and you already know how I feel about this, it's the Peat Wrap by Witching Hour Knits. The Peat Wrap, which I am obsessed with. It is like wearing a blanket. It's a really wide wrap, almost scarf length, really cozy. My first like big seasonally appropriate outing with this piece was to an apple orchard on the first day that it was too cold to go to an apple orchard because everything had frozen overnight. But it was a good opportunity to walk around and take pictures of this thing, so everything went fine. This piece was an 8-row repeat with eyelets and a big cable detail on one side. I had done cables, I think, once before, and then I made this and another cabled piece kind of simultaneously, so I now feel totally comfortable with cables. Also, I spun all of the yarn for this. It was like 1.5 pounds of BFL. That was my primary objective for Tour de Fleece last year. Are y'all excited about Tour de Fleece this year? Because I am. I'm already excited. And I crocheted a matching beret with the leftover yarn because I thought this would be really cute as a set, and it is. And I want to still make some like fingerless mitts to go with this, make it a 3-piece set. Knit or crochet the mitts, I'm not sure. So that is actually the last pattern test I've worked on. I really used to apply for everything, because I was very excited about it and I found it fun, and I still do. I just have to pace myself a little bit more these days for various reasons. The Austin stays actually reminded me I do want to do a pattern roundup of knit and crochet corset, bodice, stays inspired pieces. I think that would be fun. So that was just a quick one today. I was, again, feeling kind of nostalgic about these pieces I haven't gotten to talk about either in a while or at all, because a lot of these were before I started YouTube. If you have never pattern tested before, I think it's fun. I think overall I would recommend it, but it definitely depends on the designer. I haven't run into anyone who was like not chill about it, but I know they exist. Designers who are not chill do exist. I think I've gotten lucky. Everyone I've worked with has been super nice, super cool. I'll just say this while I'm here. I am a big proponent of giving pattern testers more than enough time to work on these projects. I don't think any pattern test should ever be rushed. I don't think pattern testers should have to jump through hoops to apply necessarily. I understand that designers sometimes get a lot of applicants. Who honks? And having extra requirements sometimes can cut down the number of applicants, but the requirement to like share and tag friends, it's like, that's the opposite. So what are we doing? Anyway, everyone just be cool. Isn't that it all the time? Isn't it always that? Just everyone be cool? Is that how I should start signing off my videos? Everyone be cool. That is all for today. I won't make promises, but my next video probably won't be a full 3 weeks from now. We'll aim for 2. So as always, be sure to rest and stretch and take care of your joints and whatever else I always say. Go and live your best yarny life, and I will see you next time.